Bunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia, and with me today we have Nick.
Yo.
Brandon.
Hello.
And we are here to talk about games and things.
Games and things.
What's on the agenda today?
You know what? Last week I hadn't slept for a day and a half when I tried to explain my feelings on the Steam Deck. I've actually slept this week, so I'm going to give you guys some more information.
Okay. How does it work as a pillow?
Keep
you warm at night.
Pretty good, actually. And I guess if we wanted to go about the heat thing, then yeah, probably.
Is it warm? I was just
so it's not. We'll talk about it. Let's just wait till we get there.
Okay.
I need a moment to gather my thoughts, and then I can give you more information there.
My goodness, Brandon.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get into it. First up, Brandon's new thoughts on the
Yeah, that's fine. I knew you were gonna do that.
I'm just kidding. I can talk about something first. I saw Rescue Rangers. That's topical. That will give you time.
That is topical. But I also want to ask you. I saw that one clip that Nick just posted in our chat.
Mm-hmm.
Is this just Who Framed Roger Rabbit? But
yeah, it's fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
This looks really good. Is it good? Please tell me it's good.
I loved it.
I love it. Fantastic.
Loved
I can't wait to watch this.
Yeah, I was kind of pumped from the commercials. I mean, I loved Rescue Rangers back in the day, and you could tell obviously from the trailers that this was not like a brand new episode of Rescue Rangers. Like obviously this is kind of more like a self-referential parody kind of thing. But it goes like balls to the wall down there. It recalls the source material really well, I feel like, and it just pulls some great punches. Some of it kind of reminds me, if you want to talk about kind of a an old kind of referential thing, and this is super niche, even the reference even is, so some people might not even know what I'm talking about here. Do you remember Captain Rainbow? Do you remember that?
I do. I have never played that game though.
Yeah, I haven't either. I've just heard all the talk about it, where it's kind of just your main character winds up on this island of old kind of video game characters, and you have Little Mac from Punch Out, and he's all fat and worn out now. It's kind of shit like that in this.
Okay.
And it's great. Because you have some characters are just giving into their desires and just their life off of screen. There's this plot line, basically it's a caper thing where these cartoon characters are being kidnapped and sold into counterfeit cartoons.
Oh, okay, all right.
Human cartoon trafficked into
okay.
counterfeit cartoons. It's hilarious. Just the stuff that they do is just so good. There's so many Easter eggs. Pretty much any cartoon you can think of has some sort of Easter egg in there, I swear. I've seen everything, I feel like.
That's
even
fantastic.
Stuff that's not Disney properties are in there. There's a little Easter egg to Sora. There's a little Easter egg to Patrick Star. There's a little Easter egg to some of the different Nicktoons. Everything that you can think of is referenced there. And it's just it's right. It is they pulled the Who Framed Roger Rabbit stuff pretty hard. And there's a bunch of Easter egg stuff there. This feels like Who Framed Roger Rabbit to me, except not scary as fuck. Because that's how I remember that movie when I was a kid.
Okay, so I love that movie. I think the only part that makes me think of it being scary as fuck is the ending where his eyeballs literally pop out and it reveals that he's a cartoon. Sorry, I guess this is a fucking 40 or 50-year-old movie now. Spoilers, my bad, but whatever. Really good fucking movie though. That's the only part I remember that was scary.
Christopher Lloyd was scary. Well, there was that, and the fact that there was that dip, and you put the cartoons into it, and they
yeah, you're right, yeah.
Yeah. But they make a reference to that. They make Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Roger Rabbit's literally in the movie.
Nice.
And so there's lots of just little ins like that through the whole movie. And it's fantastic. Listen, there's just so many just random other Easter eggs, the billboards make me laugh. Just it's good stuff. It's good on point comedy that I think anyone could enjoy. And I think if you're a fan of the older stuff, that's definitely going to be there too. I mean, the big thing that the gaming side of things has really taken to is Ugly Sonic is in the movie, and I would even say like they're like ugly Sonic cameo. Like he's in the movie a lot more than I expected him to be. I will
Okay.
say. So he plays, I don't not just kind of like an Easter egg role. Like he is there as a character that you will get familiar with through the course of the
Oh,
movie. Is
nice.
he a main character? No, but he does play a role in like the progression of this movie.
Okay.
And just some of the one-liners and just kind of like you guys saw it in the clip in there just too, like how they kind of do that like subtle zoom in. It just is it's really well.
It's so unnerving when they zoom in on his mouth.
Yeah, I kind of love it.
Just...
It looks hilarious.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like they knew exactly how to like pull that thing together, and they did a great job. And the crew that they have behind this movie is great. I mean, they have Adam Sandberg, who like a bunch of like the Lonely Island people are there. They have John Mulaney. Let's see, John Mulaney's Chip. Andy Sandberg is Dale.
Yeah, I was watching the clip and I was like, "Is that Andy Samberg?"
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you have like some of the original actors and actresses, like the actress who does Gadget. It's like I believe that's the original voice actor. So
nice. Monty, is that the other one? The big
Monty's a new actor, but at least by like nostalgia like years, he sounds the same to me.
All I was gonna say is like, do they have him? But that answered my question already. So nice.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Monty is there. Zipper is there. Whole crew.
A little playing thing. Yeah, nice. They have the whole group. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch this. It looks really good.
I'm gonna put this out there. With somebody like me, who Chip and Dale was a little bit before my time, would I enjoy this?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, there's the movie itself. Even if you aren't familiar with Rescue Rangers itself, the movie's of just a very self-referential parody on like animation and Hollywood.
Okay. So I would like honestly recommend though checking out Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, like the original. I think you would like it. It's very well made. It still holds up today.
I'll just say the show finished 3 years before I was born.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I would highly recommend watching it, or like look up an episode or two and then see what your thoughts are. Because I think a lot of the Nicktoons during that time, such as like Gargoyles and Bonkers and Chip and Dale, like all of those were really fucking good shows, and they still hold up today.
They still hold up. I will say though, Nick, I do wholeheartedly believe that you do not have to have seen the original show to appreciate this. As long as you can appreciate like the nostalgia behind it.
Yeah, I think I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll be fine. And there are like references to some of the other, because these weren't Nicktoons. What were they? It was like the Disney cartoon block. So they have like Tailspin references, Darkwing Duck.
Oh fuck yeah, Darkwing Duck.
They have.
Do they have Mighty Duck?
No, they did have Gummy Bears though.
Oh, dude, Gummy Bears bouncing here.
They have like some of the cameos are just so out there. Like even South Park makes a cameo in there.
That's awesome. Yeah, this sounds great. I'm going to watch this.
So it's just, like I said, I don't think you have to have watched it before. I think it's something that someone who's never seen it before can enjoy it, and it's definitely it falls in that like middle ground, like where a lot of cartoons are these days, where it's there's something in there for adults and there's something in there for kids, and they both can enjoy them mutually it's almost like they're watching two different movies.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I mean, if you're someone who's not like a Rescue Rangers fan, I think the movie tells you the things that you need to know to enjoy this. Because it's basically like what the show was back in the 90s. It does give kind of like a brief, maybe like minute synopsis of what it was. And then it does kind of pull in some of the older episodes and things like that from time to time, like in context. It doesn't give you anything out of context.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. And I would say too, like there's so many Easter eggs there to just so many different things. You can watch this movie and there's no way you can absorb all the Easter eggs that are thrown at you. Like it's just impossible. There are things, I was watching some videos on YouTube after the fact and I'm like, I would not have ever recognized some of these things that were there if this video did not pull them out and show me. So yeah, there's a lot to take in there. like I said, I wholeheartedly recommend it. I'm probably going to watch it again at some point. I did just very much enjoy it. So
I'm excited now.
Mm-hmm.
You should be. It is great. And they even do like they they even bring back like the theme song too. And they make a joke about it. They're like, "What are we gonna do? Have some like pop star do this in like a mellow theme version or something?"
And they fucking do it.
Yeah, they do.
Nice.
Of course. So I will say I do think Rescue Rangers is one of the greatest theme songs that has ever been created. And they just do a great job with like everything on this movie. I don't really have anything.
I like the Darkwing Duck and the Tailspin theme. I think they're
they're all
more
great
iconic.
too.
I think they're a little bit more iconic. I fucking love the Darkwing Duck theme. That's like one of the best themes I think they've ever done.
Darkwing Duck is good, and so is Tailspin. Don't get me wrong, but I do think that Rescue Rangers is more iconic. I think the only cartoon theme song from that era that's more iconic, and like I don't think anyone would doubt, like, is DuckTales. DuckTales is
absolutely
like, undisputable.
Absolutely.
I really, like I said, I have no complaints about this movie at all. I think it's just well paced. And two, it doesn't even suffer from that like this movie's too long, please end kind of thing. Like I just felt like it always just had another twist to throw me, but it never outstayed its welcome.
Love it.
Yeah. There's just so many good one-liners too. Like I wish I could just run through like some of them and just spoil the shit out of them, but it's much more for your enjoyment just to see them as they go through and see if you can catch them. Because some of them you won't, and then some of them you will, and then some of them you'll realize later and groan at, and you'll be like, "That's the biggest dad joke I ever heard," but it was so well done. So, yeah, it's just fantastic.
Awesome! I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 10 out of 10. I don't know if you guys have any other questions about it.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and that's one nice thing about movies. I mean, it's just kind of you get your piece out there, and that's just kind of is what it is. But yeah, just highly recommend. It's on Disney Plus if you have it. I think it's limited release in theaters as well.
Okay.
So wherever you want to go, but it is available right now on Disney Plus. So go see it. You don't have an excuse. And then the only other thing I would talk about this week is BoxBoy. So
okay,
because I've been going through because this last week was the last week for credit card sales on the 3DS.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I was like, I probably should buy some of this shit I've been meaning to buy. So I went in and I picked up a few different things. The only one I really want to talk about this week, though, is BoxBoy.
Okay.
And I picked it up because it was just kind of one of those games where I was like, kind of like Pushmo and like Dylan. I was like, well, I feel like these are kind of the some of the bigger like series of I don't even know what to call them. They're like Nintendo developed, but kind of like indie titles where they're made by like a smaller like side team. Kind of thing. And BoxBoy is just a clever little puzzle game. I don't think you guys ever played this, right? I mean, you're probably just
no, I have not played BoxBoy. I've only saw some gameplay of it. It looks like fun.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's like a puzzle game. You are a cube named QB, which is also a $400 amiibo.
Yeah, he sure is.
And so you get through puzzles because he can kind of like I don't even know how to describe it. He can stretch himself into multiple boxes, and then he can use that to either like he can duplicate a box and use it to build a set of stairs, or he can kind of use it like a snake and pull himself up onto another ledge. And each level just gives you a certain amount of blocks that you can use together or just overall as a means to like perfect the level. So it's got a lot of nice variety. It's got some clever things. At least the level I've been through, I think 8 worlds so far, and each world is like 6 or 7 stages. So there's supposed to be a good chunk of them there. It kind of goes through your standard fare of like platformer puzzle kind of worlds. So it's like here's the conveyor belt world, and here is the switch world, and here is the door world. Where the doors
my favorite one.
on you. I know.
Real fake doors.
So I mean, it's got some clever puzzles there. I've been really enjoying what it is. It was just a $5 eShop game, so I was like, I'd be fucked if I didn't just pick this up. So I'm like, I might as well. And I've been enjoying it. It's been on my kind of like to-do list for a while. And it probably still would be if the eShop was not accepting credit cards. Or still accepting credit cards for longer. It would just sit there for a while. But like I said, I didn't really want to miss out on it. Because who knows when or if we will ever see these games again, which is tragic. So yeah, that was one of my last minute purchases. I did pick up a couple other things. And then there's a couple things I just kind of have on like the maybe back burner, where it's like maybe I'll do it, but I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, you can still use eShop cards for the next couple months, and then even beyond that, apparently, if you just have like loose funds on your Switch, you can use those. So why they're doing this, I don't know. I just don't know why they're just. If you want to shut down the credit card shit, let people just make it obnoxious to buy things on it. Just be like, oh, you can only buy things if you had funds through your Switch. Like that way you can be like, we're not saving your credit card info. It's not there anymore. It still would be tied to your like My Nintendo account. So who gives a fuck?
Or allow them to buy it through the browser.
That also works.
Yeah, that would be fine too.
That's also what PlayStation did with PS3 games and PSP games for the longest time. So like, I mean, just do that. It's way simpler, a lot easier. You know, you're logging in with your, your joint account that's already been joined with your other systems, because that's literally what Nintendo did. They transferred it over. They did the whole migration thing during the like later part of the Nintendo 3DS era before the Switch came out. I don't see why they can't just do that. If they did migrate it over and they did do what they said they were going to do in the first place and what they were doing, then why can't we just purchase it through the browser?
No, I mean, you can purchase stuff through the browser, like as it is.
Like the Wii games? I mean, the Wii U games and stuff like that right now?
Yeah.
The 3DS? Okay, all right. Well, then that's what I was confused by.
Years even.
Okay.
Like, I would say it's been like that for, probably at least 4 years now that you've been able to do it. And that is a good point, Brandon. Just shut down the stupid eShop on the...
Shut it down the eShop. Allow us to continue doing it that way. I mean, I don't see any reason why I would be a problem, you know?
It's just trying to make things more difficult.
And it's just Nintendo being Nintendo.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's some like weird thing behind it. Like, I mean, some of it you could probably be like, well, if they are launching Game Boy Advance games on like the Switch or whatever, like it makes sense not have those things there.
Give a fuck. Because you know what? I'm gonna praise Sony today.
Oh,
and that don't happen often.
I'm about to say this is a rare thing.
Yeah, so I'll get more into it in the actual like talk and everything, because I'll put it in news because I forgot about it. But the Asian version of the new PlayStation thing has launched already, and people have seen that if you bought PlayStation 1 games, like PS1 games back on the PlayStation 3, or you bought PSP games back on the PlayStation 3, and they are games that you own on that account, when the new version of the PlayStation Plus comes out, if those are on that list, you don't pay extra. You just get them, and you can play them instantly on your PS4 or PS5.
Wow, that's good. That's the way that it should be. I really hope Nintendo does something like that someday. But
yeah.
We'll see.
Never.
Well, even when they did the transition from Wii to Wii U, they had that kind of weird thing. I mean, granted, they did add extra features where it was like, you had to upgrade for like it was less than $2 to add it to like the Wii U, like actual like dashboard. You could still access them through the Wii menu, but if you wanted like the new features, you had to pay like $1 or whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of justifiable, kind of annoying. I could see it both ways, but I mean, I would hope that someday that things would be like that. But I mean, on the flip side, though, you could always look at it and be like, well, if I owned a game on the Wii or the Wii U, that did not translate over onto the 3DS. So it should be, if you buy the game on one thing, you should have it on everything. That's the way it should be. That's not the way that it is. And especially with them moving everything towards NSO, I really don't see that changing. But we will see. Anyways, that's all I got. That's all I got to talk about. So you guys can take it over.
All right, so I'll give you my information now on the Steam Deck since I've gathered my thoughts about a bit. I don't think it's actually that hot. I don't think it gets much hotter than like Nintendo Switch back does. It definitely doesn't get as hot as a laptop. We were talking about this earlier and everything. It's not a particularly toasty console. I would say,
because when you started this, I thought you were talking about it being like shitty. Like, I don't think the
No.
Steam Deck's that hot.
Oh, no. Sorry. No. I actually love the Steam Deck. I've had a few issues, which I will go into detail about, and all of them are user error. So all of them, if you're just playing through your Steam Deck with the normal Steam verified games, you ain't got to worry about this. But if you're gonna be like me and be a fucking idiot and install every single emulator onto this thing, then you might have a few issues, including one that I thought I completely fucked up my Steam Deck. But what had happened was, I had set the TDP, which is the like wattage that the console gets, lower, so I can have more battery life on one of my lower end emulators, essentially. So I had made it so I was getting like 8 hours of battery life when playing on my emulator. That sort of deal. You know, so I had a very strong battery life when playing emulate games and not dealing with other bullshit. So I had set that, but what happened was, after setting that, there was then an update that was downloaded immediately for the Steam Deck. It was a one that was like a stability update, that sort of deal, because they're putting out updates for this thing every single day, whether it's adding more games that you can play to the Steam Deck through verified means, just through install and play, which is super easy, or whether it's like UI and other backend things, such as the most recent update that's on the beta branch right now allows you to change the refresh rate of the screen at any point in time. So if I'm playing a game that's like not quite getting 60 FPS, it's getting like 40, so like I'm playing high settings on Elden Ring, I'm not going to get that 60 FPS on this handheld. It's just not going to happen because it's a brand new game. It's got a lot of graphical intensity and that sort of deal, and it's just not going to work because the optimization's not quite there yet for something like that. You can cap the refresh rate of the actual screen of the system to 40 hertz, and then you can have a much smoother and controlled gaming session, and it'll also extend the battery life some as well if you end up doing something like that. And I think that's a really good idea for something like that to be introduced. But essentially that update came out in the middle of me messing with the TDP and wattage and shit of the console itself to get the most battery life out of it as humanly possible, and it accidentally locked my entire system to that wattage for good. But luckily someone on the Reddit was super cool, and they helped me figure out how to flush the memory and that sort of deal. And, the memory was flushed and everything was back to normal as it was out the box. And I still had all my save files, all my games that were installed, all my external installs, such as emulation and stuff like that. All of that was totally fine and completely ready to go. So I mean, that person was a fucking godsend, because I was thinking about actually sending in, because I thought it corrupted the OS install because, the update and whatnot. But it was a bit of a headache, but I got it working again. And yeah, just in general, the ease of use and the amount of different features that are being added daily to the Steam Deck is very impressive. So much so that I'm willing to bet that if someone were to buy the same console that I have right now next year, it'll be a totally different experience than what I'm having. 100%, a totally different experience. Because they seem to be so dedicated to keeping this thing consistently updated, adding more verified games, working on the back end and making sure more of your Steam library will work over time. Even daily, they're just putting out new games. So let me just look through here real quick, because there were a few games that I saw that were added that I could not play yesterday that were added today and stuff like that. So I mean, it's very impressive what they're doing with the console and how they're making, they're taking their time and making sure everything that they verify is 100% playable, and that everything's going to be all good, and that you can just install the game and play it and be done with it. And I really appreciate something like that. So here's a really random one, right? Lego Ninjago. I got this for a billion years ago, basically. About 2 days ago, it was just listed under untested, unknown if it would actually play. Which, if something says unknown or untested, you could still install it. you just might have some quirks, and it's not been confirmed by Steam themselves. Yeah, this will 100% work. But today, it's now listed as verified and fully playable. So something like that, having a system like that that tells you as like the days, weeks, months go on, what games you're not going to have any hassle with if you just install them is a very good system to have. And then they even have like this other system that just says playable, but with like some issues, that sort of deal. And it gets like a little red, not red, yellow eye. And the yellow eye just means like click this for more information. When you click it for more information, you'll see things like, for instance, with Jet Set Radio, one of my favorite games of all time. I have the HD version that was released on Steam. And if you click the information on that one, which is just listed as playable, not verified, it tells you game is fully playable, but some text may appear small, which it does. And they're saying that's not a fully verified game because that text appears small. Like, they're being that anal about this to the point where they want this running perfectly before they 100% verify it. And I think that shows just how dedicated they are to making this work as well as possible and making sure they curate everything, and that if it says it has a green check mark next to it, you're going to be able to install that game and just instantly play it without any sort of issues. And I really appreciate something like that. A few other things that I've seen or have done myself outside of the normal gameplay, there's a gyro option in this. So I've seen people like install a Wii emulator and play Wii Sports with the console. And that shit is scary to me, but also kind of impressive. I've watched someone play Wii Bowling by holding their console, one hand on each grip, and pushing it forward. And I'm like, that fucking frightens me. But also, that is neat. Because someone's just gonna, like, shove that shit forward, and it's just gonna go flying out of their hands. Because, Steam Deck ain't got no wrist straps. No.
Only a matter of time.
That's fucking hysterical.
So I see things like that, and I'm like, that's just impressive what the community for the Steam Deck has come up with already as well. Like, that profile that person made, they then turned around and uploaded it to Steam, and if you like boot up something like Wii Sports, for instance, through an emulator, you can then pull up the Steam menu and go over to control settings, and their profile that will say Wii Sports gyro controls will be there and uploaded for you to play using. You don't have to do anything extra. You just click A, and then you say select this profile, and bam, you're now set up like that person was. And I think things like that are also very impressive because, like, it extends beyond the reach of just Steam games. It extends to other games that you put onto your system through different means. And I think having an option like that and actually allowing this to work like a PC, even though we're running something like Linux, is very good. And it does show that, like, Steam's just kind of hands-on when it comes to verifying the games and making sure things work, but hands-off when it comes to allowing you to do whatever you want with this. Like, I can go into desktop mode and I can install anything on this fucking console. If it's possible, I can do it. There's nothing that Steam says that won't allow me to do it. And they're not going to give me trouble if I do something like that. They even have options on their actual, like, FAQ that's like, you want to dual boot Windows? Here's a already completed Windows file for you that will run on the Steam Deck. Put it on a memory card, put that memory card in it, press these two buttons, and then select Windows, and you can run the Steam Deck in Windows mode instead of Linux mode. When you're given the options like that, and a company is being so willing to let people just go to fucking town on their product, I think that's both impressive, and it says a lot about the company and, like, their thoughts on their product as a whole, when they give you that kind of freedom. And I really, really dig that aspect of the Steam Deck a lot. And several people won't, and that's okay, because you never have to touch that aspect of the Steam Deck. But it's there for those that want it. And it's not, like, shoved down your throat, and it's also not, like, kept away from people that do want it. And having that kind of freedom, I think, is what really makes this stand out from everything else. I with a touch of a fucking button, I can play Game Boy Advance, Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Wii U, the Wii, or my entire Steam library just pretty fucking easily after setting up everything that I needed to do so. And just for like verification, I dumped my own files, so don't come after me. There you go. But in general, I think that having the ability to do something like that, and then having it be able to be fully integrated by the community and even looked over by the community and being given the tools to do so is just super impressive. And it's fantastic. So those are my thoughts. The good and the bad on the Steam Deck after having it for about 2.5 weeks.
I mean, important. So there you go. Like you're enjoying it. That's what's the important thing.
I do enjoy this a lot. Now that I've given that information, I'm going to ask the same question I asked last week. You guys have any questions or like thoughts or anything you want to ask or mention?
I don't think so.
No, I mean, it sounds like it was the purchase was worth it.
Yeah, the purchase was definitely worth it. It really does just feel like a handheld PC at the end of the day. And having that freedom really does like give it that extra edge above every other handheld console thing that there is out there.
Yeah, I'm probably still gonna build another PC first before I.
Oh no, totally. You should totally do that. I highly recommend doing something like that because at the end of the day, you're not going to get the same performance that you would on PC. You're going to get really good performance and the best performance you'll get out of a handheld, but you're not going to get the same performance you would get out of a PC. Obviously, I do think this is a really good supplemental PC for like people that are traveling, and I also think it's a really good supplemental PC for people like, for instance, Mike here. Mike, you could literally take this and like use Bluetooth and use this to play like computer games that you can't access due to like owning a Mac or whatever. Yeah. And you could like get in at the very ground level and get like the 64 gigabyte version of this for $400. And that's like the price of a console. That's like fucking nothing. And when you take into account that you can like hook this up to a monitor and you can use this like a normal PC and you could even do like, you know, whatever kind of task you wanted to do or whatever. Or if you just wanted to play some PC games and it just instantly syncs with controllers, such as my PS5 controller, for instance, right here, instantly sunk with my PS5 controller and worked perfectly fine. No issues out the box. Having those kind of options for someone that doesn't actually have like a modern PC and has like something else or doesn't even have one period, I think would also be really good for people. I think it's a really good like entry sort of deal for PC gaming, even though you're using Linux.
Well, like I said last week, for me it would be a nice little like kind of gateway device to those kind of things without having to invest in like a very pricey PC.
Exactly.
Or even like the desktop space to have. Something like that. So I mean, I think it's great. I really do.
Yep. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. Other than like, I've just been really happy with the thing as a whole. But I also share my thoughts on a game I ended up getting and streaming for about like 6 fucking hours. So there's a new game called Golf Gang. It is similar to something like Fall Guys, where there's a lot of different like obstacles and then it's also similar to something like Mario Kart, where there's a lot of different like power-ups, but you're racing and playing golf, like mini golf. So it's a game for up to 8 players, and there's several courses, and essentially at the end of every round, you'll be based on the number of shots you took and how fast you got to the hole. However, things like collision detection are turned on. So you can royally fuck up your opponents when you all take your shot at the same time. Like, so think of like a Mario Kart countdown, you know, like the 3, 2, 1, go. But instead of a cart going off at that point in time, it's everyone hitting a golf ball at that point in time at the same time, and there's collision detection on every single one of them. This game was super hectic and a ton of fun. We played it for, I'd say, actually I can check, about 5.5 hours, nearly 6 hours, essentially. And it did not stop being fun the entire way through. It was just a blast finding the different shortcuts you could take. And when we played the power-up mode, it was really cool because you'd get things like, I think there was a power-up called Vroom, and it was where instead of taking a shot, when you pull back to take your shot, your golf ball becomes like a car instead. So then you're racing it around the track and that sort of deal. And that power up was really cool. Yeah, it was really fucking cool. And there was another power up where it would make it so every other shot would be backwards. So you'd have to turn your golf ball around after you took like a normal shot, and you'd have to like face the camera the opposite direction after aiming correctly and then like take a shot. And you wouldn't be able to see where you were aiming unless you like knew where you were aiming beforehand and whatnot. Otherwise, you would just hit the golf ball backwards automatically. So there was a big mode where every time you took a shot, the ball got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until like it would be taking up like pretty much the entire course. And if you're playing that mode along with like 8 other people, imagine the golf ball is getting bigger every time the shot is taken, and then also the collision detection, and you're just going to have everyone's golf ball flying off the map at all points and times. And that kind of chaos is what made this game so much fun to play. And it like just came out. I think it's only a PC game at this moment in time, but I highly, highly recommend playing it if you get the chance, because it is so much fun.
I mean, I don't love golf, but it sounds pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's great. It's got like all the Mario Kart, Mario Party weird shit that you would have, and then it's in a mini golf game. So yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a fun little party game, and I think it's only like $10, so like it's not even that much money.
Yeah, that's a great price for a game like that.
Yep, and that's what I've done this week.
All right, Nick, it's up to you.
I played something new that's not even out yet.
Uh-oh.
I see that.
I got a access code for the Multiversus alpha.
Do you get like gift keys or anything? Question mark?
They've all been claimed.
They
were claimed before I even knew I had all 3 of them.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I've been playing this for a couple of days. And I've got to say, like, as far as some of the platform players go that we've got in recent time, this definitely has to be one of the more fun ones.
Okay.
Cause I've played the Nickelodeon All Stars that just came out recently. Obviously I play Smash. I've played Brawlhalla. I've played Rivals of Aether. And as far as all those go, even though like people will be hell bent on comparing this game to Smash, they shouldn't. It's a platform fighter. It's very solidly made.
That's awesome.
It's a little bit more floaty than Smash is, because that's always going to be the comparison for these two things. But I find myself having a lot more fun with this game than I do other games. I mean, do you have any questions about it?
I guess my only question would be like, how many characters? How fun is it? You know, the usual sort of deal.
All right. So there was a data mine for the character list. Now, mind you, this is going to be a free-to-play game once it launches.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it's going to be like you buy your own champion type deal. The beta gives you access to, I believe it's like 10 characters.
Okay.
You do have to unlock some by playing the game.
Okay.
I've been playing Finn from Adventure Time.
All right.
And he's a lot of fun. But like Tom and Jerry's in it. Batman's in it. Arya Stark. In the leaked data mine characters, they also have Static Shock, Raven, Godzilla. Like, there's a lot of really cool, interesting characters being added to the game. And then overall, it is just it's a lot of fun. I've been playing online, and the connection hasn't been the best.
Okay.
But I try not to kind of factor that into my overall feelings of the game, because like Smash Online is trash.
Yeah.
So like I kind of want to play this game in person to get a really good feel for how it runs. But so far from what I've played, both single player and multiplayer, it's a lot of fun, honestly. It seems to be more geared towards like 2v2 type matches than 1v1s.
Okay.
Mostly because there's a perk system in the game, and the perk system, it's fine if you're a single player person, but the perks are more useful if you have more than one person in your party, i.e., two people. And then some of the moves that your characters can do are specifically like partner-based things. So like, there's a character named Dog who is an OC character to the game. It is a like reindeer dog, and he has this tether that you can like he can pull you back to the stage. So like if you're chasing somebody off stage and your partner is Dog, you can kill them off stage and then get pulled back in by your counterpart without even having to really worry about things. But it does that, like, it's not as easy as it sounds to do that, though, because obviously if it's 2v2, there's like a whole nother person playing. And it doesn't work like Smash, where you have stock, or any other platform fighter, rather, where you have like stocks. The score counting in this game is by ring outs. So when me and my friend were playing last night, the first team to 4 ring outs won. And that can be any combination of like one of the guys dying 4 times, one of them dying 3 times and 1 time. So it's how, like, the first time you've killed 4 people, or the other team 4 times, no matter the mixture, is when the game is decided. So, like, you could have somebody who's, like, a really strong character, really strong player, kind of carrying somebody who's weaker. But you can also play into that, too, by having a character who's, like, your kind of, like, offensive character, and then have somebody on the background who's more support and defensive.
Okay.
So, like, there's a lot of fun, different things you can do with that. And yeah, like I'm honestly really enjoying the game. I was planning on buying it even if it wasn't like a free to play game. Like I was ready to drop like $40 on this. And I even might still, because I have a feeling they'll have like some sort of like, hey, you spend $40 and you get like all these characters and all these things or whatever. But from a fun perspective, it's definitely like just a really good time, and it plays solidly. The characters are cool. The characters have full voice acting, unlike Nickelodeon All Stars.
Yeah.
Some of the voice acting are returning voice actors, some are newer ones. And then some of the other things are just like snippets from like old audio, like Tom and Jerry. They're obviously their original voice actors. I don't really think are alive anymore. So they have like snippets from the old cartoons. And then what's really cool too is like it has a battle pass system for you to unlock certain things. Okay. None of the things you unlock seem to be any sort of performance enhancing type thing. Okay. So like most of the unlocks are cosmetic in nature. So you get different animations for when you get a ring out. One is like the Porky Pig, that's all folks things pops up when you kill somebody.
That's cool. Also, it seems like they're going like the Rocket League sort of option.
It seems like too, like, I don't know if this is just out of a need for like content or what. There's a lot of deep cuts, at least in the alpha. Like they put like Space Kook from Scooby-Doo in there, and I'm like, that's where Scooby-Doo, where are you? Like I don't think anybody playing this game right now really knows what that's from.
Wait, Space what?
Space Kook. Hold on.
Oh, that guy.
Like, yeah.
Wow, that's actually really cool.
Like he's in the game as like a thing. Like he's like a ring out thing, and like there's graphics of him in there. Now, as far as like the characters go so far, I have played a few of them, and they have been fun so far. The natural thing for you to do is kind of compare them to characters from Smash. So like people compare Tom and Jerry to Ice Climbers, and it's not really that cut and dry. Because whereas Ice Climbers kind of move slightly independently of each other while also trying to maintain that connection. Like Tom and Jerry, you can use Jerry as a projectile. You don't even need to throw him. He can operate completely on his own. So it's like a really cool character to play. There's a bunch of alternate skins in this version. One of the ones I was really happy to see is they had a Ninja Batman skin, or the Samurai Batman skin, which is really cool.
Ooh, nice.
And then they also had Cake, who is the cat version of Jake from Adventure Time.
I remember Cake. Okay.
Yeah. So like Cake is in it. But yeah, like honestly, it's really cool. And if you're a fan of a lot of the properties that WB kind of has, which I believe you are, Brandon.
I am.
It's definitely something that you would want to give a try. I feel like this would be a fun stream game for like you and somebody else to play and just kind of dick around with. And
yeah, I agree. It sounds like it'd be awesome.
Yeah, because like a lot of the magic of it, I feel like, is just kind of like discovering like, what did they put in the game? What kind of things do we have here?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. Honestly, it comes out, I believe, in June, July, a month or two, and it's free to play. So once it comes out, just download it, give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy it.
Man, there's lots of neat stuff in there.
Yeah. Oh, also in the announcement trailer that they put out recently, not announcement trailer, but one of the trailers they put out recently, they announced that Iron Giant was in the game, and they had like a little moment between him and Superman, and it was like really funny because Iron Giant loves Superman. But yeah, no, I can see this game really catching on. Hopefully, more it from my perspective as somebody who runs these games like professionally and like is involved in that whole scene. This to me feels like one of the more solid entries into the platform fighter space.
Okay.
And I don't think will fall off. I don't want to say at all, but I will say quite as fast as some of the recent ones have fallen off.
Like the Nicktoons one?
Yeah, like the Nicktoons one. Rivals kind of comes and goes in spurts.
I think it depends on what new characters they release, right?
The cinematic trailer's wild.
Oh yeah, no, like it is pretty fucking wild, and like I don't know how long this multiverse kind of stuff has a staying power for.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was thinking about this the other day. Like, you guys remember when you were like younger and you'd get like some random game? The one that pops into my head the most is like Tony Hawk, where like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I think it was 3 or 4, had like Django Fett in it, and like there was like a really. There was like a really cool novelty.
I mean, I think it was 4 that also has like Snake, right?
I don't know. I forget. I'm not exactly sure. But I feel like for a while, like even like Soul Calibur 2 that had like Link if you bought it on GameCube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was a time where like these things had a real novelty to them when you're like, wait, who's in this fucking game? And I feel like we're on the cusp of kind of like burnout with this. Just between like all the different forms of media that are doing it. I mean, like Marvel obviously is one of the big contenders in this. You know, now WB and just.
I mean, you could make the counter argument though that Smash has kind of proven that this is like a timeless kind of thing.
I would see your point, but the problem was for the longest time, Smash was kind of the only thing like that for a while. I feel. And Smash itself, I feel like even kind of turned the dial up in more recent years, because like even when like Melee came out, like you would have never have thought Sora. Well, I guess that wouldn't make any sense for Sora to be in Melee, but like I feel like there's certain characters that exist in Smash Ultimate today, like Pac-Man or Sonic or whatever, that you'd be like, why would they be in like Melee?
Yeah, I don't agree with you. The reason I don't agree with you, and I think it has so much staying power, is because of things like, for instance, the open creation software for fighting games that's on PC called Mugen. Mugen has had staying power since it has existed, and pretty much all that is allowing people to make their own multiverse of games, and then seeing it in an actual like done state by a professional company, I think still has that moment where people are like, oh shit, they actually did that. That's cool. Like seeing Ultra Instinct Shaggy in the fucking...
Ultra Instinct Shaggy is in the game, which is crazy.
I know, seeing that is like, wow, I can't believe they actually did that.
My thing with Mugen, right? Mugen is just the meme.
I love Mugen. One of my favorite
Mugen
things to do is Salty Bet.
Like,
have you ever played Salty Bet?
Yes, it's fucking it's
so
hysterical.
Good. It's so good.
You get the Dwayne fighting like Goku, and it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah,
like that's kind of why like that's the enjoyment out of that. I don't feel like it's the enjoyment of actually playing the game. It's just kind of like how stupid everything is. But I don't know. I feel like it's coming. I might be wrong. Honestly,
I think the counterpoint to what I said, though, Nick, would be, I mean, if you look at something like Smash is obviously it's very high quality. It's pulling from Nintendo's characters, which have a very high likability. I mean, the issue that you ran into with the Nicktoons was, I mean, you're pulling from a good character base, but there's some questionable choices even in that character.
That's true. That's very true.
And the gameplay is not as well polished as something like Smash. I mean, you look at DC. I mean, like Warner Brothers has some like interesting characters in their back pocket, obviously. But are they going to make the right choices there? And is the gameplay going to be something that's solid enough and replayable enough that it can hold up? You look at, I mean, if you want to even go back further, it was PlayStation All Stars. Like, that was a fucking travesty. And Sony,
but people still cared about it when it released because it was all the crossover content.
Oh
and
yeah,
everything.
and it's exciting when they're announcing things, and it's exciting when it's new. But once it's not new, it just has to rely on its gameplay, and that's where that game specifically fell short.
Well, yeah, and the problem too with that is like there was a lot of like weird like red tape type shit with that game because like you had developers being like, "Oh, this character would never kill this character," and like, of course, does it make sense for Kirby to fucking kill Captain Falcon? No, but in context of the game,
well,
it's
the
fine.
DC superheroes versus Mortal Kombat, you know, that game was censored to hell and back because they didn't want DC characters, you know, killing or being killed in gruesome ways and that sort of deal. But like, I feel like so many people have come back around to that now that it's just like, okay, well now we're getting like the professionally made things like Mugen instead, and that's what I think is keeping people entertained.
I like I said, I do believe that this game does have mechanically the staying power, and if they're smart, which I actually don't know. Let me see who's making this game.
I was just gonna make one.
Player First Games. So let's see what Player First Games has made.
Well, you're looking it up. I was gonna say Nintendo's counterpoint to that whole like good guys can't kill good guys thing is like because their official stance on Smash, I think, is that it's not the real characters. It's like their figures. Like their amiibos are battling each other.
So it looks like Player First Games is this is their first game. But one of the CEO and one of the co-founders apparently was a lead game designer for God of War 3, God of War Ascension, and League of Legends.
Okay.
Let's see who else we got. We got somebody else who has spent a lot of time in the Disney and Warner Brothers ecosystem.
So it's like the Jade Raymond of Multiversus.
I was gonna say, it sounds like they kind of assembled a team of people who like understand different aspects of what they need to do. But like I said, like all they got to do is just make sure that they keep up with things, but also ignore like. It's a weird thing to be like ignore the fan base, but also listen to the fan base because like the fan base can be like the shittiest thing that you could like listen to, but then there's also like a lot of valid points that they can also make. So it's like it's gonna be the real meat and potatoes of this game is gonna come in the post launch of it, just to see how they keep it alive, how they keep it going. I mean, I think it's at Evo, so like that's huge. So I don't know, but we shall see. But it's like, for what it's worth, it is fun if you have want to play it once it comes out, or if they do like an open beta, which I feel like they will before the game officially launches. Try it out. It's fun.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it looks fun. Well, let's see.
Yeah. As for anything else, I haven't really done much else. I've literally been playing that game nonstop. That should be like kind of like the selling point of what I just talked about. I've been playing that game pretty much nonstop. So, didn't really do much of anything.
All right, you guys ready to move on to news?
Yeah,
sure.
All right, I only have one bit of news in here. It's kind of more like an interesting thing, but apparently EA is just trying to sell themselves right now. Which I mean, we are in the age of mergers and acquisitions. So not terribly surprising.
But
apparently one of the front runners is Apple, which is kind of an interesting.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. I think the other one, I mean, I could pull up the article and look. I know Disney was one that they really wanted. That one makes more sense because they were like, oh, I mean, you think EA, you think sports stuff, and then, you know, they would partner well with Disney because of ESPN. But on the flip side, Disney's been kind of downsizing their video game. Like, they've been licensing stuff out more than building stuff in-house. So there's that. And then again, what would Disney do with the rest of EA's IP? Like, I couldn't see them having much need for, you know, Mass Effect or Dead Space or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, but then you think about someone like Apple. I mean, Apple does have like their phone and their arcade stuff, but do they really have the ability to take on like full quality like AAA game development when they just stutter everything.
That's the weird thing.
Because like I feel like they might be able to handle it better than. So like, I don't know. EA's so awful right now that I don't even know.
Well, I mean, so there's two sides of the coin because I look at it as like, if Apple bought EA, let's just say theoretically, like I think Apple would give them the resources to do what they need to do to get stuff done. They would curate the right stuff, but the problem is Apple's like primary like game console would be like phones or like the Apple TV kind of arcade stuff, which would be mostly smaller kind of experiences. I mean, you probably would get something there, but not like AAA, like 60 gigabyte, game development kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of like scaling back what EA had been doing. The sports stuff would probably be untouched. Like, I don't think that would change anything they do there. They could just kind of, keep status quo with sports stuff. But like for them to do like Mass Effect, like their only options would be to put that out on, say, like a console that's not theirs, which they could, but that doesn't really seem like Apple's thing. Like Apple's about building up their ecosystem, not about like putting things out elsewhere. I don't. It's a very weird like match, and I just don't see it.
I don't see it happening because I feel like Apple is fine in the space that they're in with the Apple Arcade.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really think they would want to kind of like make that go any further.
I mean, the only aspect of it would be curating. They don't. I feel like Apple's happy with their own game space. I agree.
Yeah.
But they're not really curating anything of their own in that space.
No.
Which would be like, that would be like one area of opportunity there, I would say, if anything. But I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it. I'm not really sure though who else would be a good match. I'm assuming that they shed the whole FIFA thing to make themselves a bit more desirable.
I'd say purchasable because FIFA's got to be worth a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they're like, hey, if we want somebody to buy us, we can't include this gigantic fucking licensing deal.
Yeah.
With us. But as far as like purchasing EA, I feel like the meme is going to be like, oh, Microsoft is going to buy them. Or maybe you'll have like, I don't know, Sony throwing them an offer. But who knows? I don't know. I feel like I don't want them to be absorbed by anything.
It was Apple, Disney, and Amazon.
Oof. Amazon's the worst they could choose. Like, Amazon's
I also feel like that's
awful.
the most likely.
Yeah, I know.
Because Amazon's like had a really rough shake at doing video games.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it would give them a foot in the door.
And
Amazon, I feel like, would be more likely to, put out their stuff on anything they could get their hands on.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying. Like, I
don't really feel like any of these are a good fit for them.
No, absolutely not. I don't like I don't have any horse in this race because none of the horses.
At this point, I would say anything other than Amazon. I don't think Amazon can actually maintain a gaming company. I think they're literally the worst at it.
Yeah.
Out of all of them, including EA, I've watched Amazon launch games and then just forget about them, like weeks later. Like, hey, remember New World? Amazon doesn't. I'm
just saying, like, I feel like I'd rather them be like, hey, we're like restructuring, and like, I don't know. It's weird. I don't want them to be purchased by anybody.
No, me neither. I feel like if Disney bought EA, what the hell would happen? Ugh, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, their sports games would be like probably ESPN licensed.
I have some Sony news. Kind of already launched, at least in Asia.
Okay.
And this kind of does go into what we were talking about before when we were guessing, and I was making that I can actually see right now on this list. So PlayStation Plus game trials, because there's more to the list than what we saw before. So Horizon Forbidden West, Cyberpunk, Uncharted Legacy of the Thieves Collection, Tiny Tina Wonderlands, Hot Wheels Unleashed, City Undercover, Biomutant, Farming Simulator 2022, MotoGP 2022, Elix 2, Crusader Kings 3, WWE 2K 2022, and those are the games that are listed under game trials. The PS1 game list and classics category, we have Jak and Dexter, Jak 3, Jak 2, Jak Combat Racing, Toy Story 2, Worms Armageddon, Worms World Party, Oddworld, Tekken 2, Mr. Driller, Everybody's Golf, which is Hot Shots Golf in America. I don't think this game that is listed here is actually one that's real, because this is the Japanese one, so we won't get that. But Ape Escape, Echo Chrome, Jumping Flash, yeah, all of these games that I'm listing right now, Wild Arms, all of those games have PS5 versions, and if you've owned them in the past, like you've already bought them through PlayStation Store or whatever, then you will get those versions at no extra cost. At least that's what it appears to be here from what has been shown on the Asian market, essentially. From the early release and that sort of deal. A lot of the games that are the PS Plus game catalog, a lot of them are, again, the same kind of games that were on the PlayStation Now that had the already downloadable option, because PlayStation Now added download these games to your console as an option. So aside from things like the Demon Souls game, Death Stranding, the big titles that were PS5, Returnal, that sort of deal, aside from that, most of the games that were on this list were only the kind of games that we had already seen on the PlayStation Now list. So Tearaway, The Surge, Hot Shot Racing, Missing, Child of Light, Chocobo Mysterious Dungeon, the Neptunia games, World of Final Fantasy, Trials Rising, Concrete Genie, a lot of the same games, and pretty much all of the same games that were already part of the PlayStation Now download instant list are the ones that are on the finished list here. So there's that. This really does look, at least somewhat currently, with the way it's appearing on the Japanese and Asian market store, it looks essentially like exactly what I was saying, where aside from the fact that if you already own the PlayStation 1 games and the PSP games, which is really cool, that you get the PS5 versions for no extra cost, that's a really neat option. You also don't have to be subscribed for that to be a thing that happens, so that's just a really cool system option in general, and that's awesome, and I super dig that. But aside from that, it really does look like they smooshed down PS Plus and PlayStation Now together, and then just repackaged them and are reselling them to a bunch of idiots for a higher price than what you would have paid if you were buying both of those separately. And that's not really good. The only other, like I said, thing here that I think has value possibly are the trials for new games and upcoming games and stuff like that. And I think that is a really neat option, but in general, I don't think it's worth the price. But we'll have to wait until we see the American launch titles. But it's not looking that good. But we do have at least some ray of light and that sort of deal, where it is the PS1 games, the PSP games that are fully downloadable. However, one new thing that came to light recently while we were doing this podcast is the PS1 games are the PAL version, at least in Asia. So hopefully that's not the case in America. Otherwise, that's really gonna suck.
Yeah, I can't imagine they would do that here, though. That would be bad.
I mean, they did it once already. Well, why wouldn't they do it again?
It's that saying, fool me once, fool me twice, whatever,
Yeah, it's that saying of, yeah, they're probably going to do it again. I don't necessarily see the value here. Like I said, we have to wait until we see the American version of it and everything. But looking at this, from what's been launched on the PS Store in Asia, and taking into account that the entire Asian market is missing the PlayStation 3 games, I really do think that this is not going to be worth the value. Because it looks like a large portion of this is the PlayStation 3 games that are just going to stream over that shitty quality that they've been doing forever now. Now, if somehow they have reworked them to stream at a better quality, which I highly, highly doubt, but if somehow they have, that will be pretty impressive. But it doesn't look like it right now. So, I guess in a few days, maybe a week, we'll find out officially, in the US. A few of the other really shitty things about this that several people noticed was if you have stacked PlayStation subscriptions, like, months, years, that sort of deal, quite a bit, and PS Now subscriptions, you have to pay up front for it no matter what. So
nice.
It's kind of shit. But there's some good stuff here, but the bad really outweighs the good, in all honesty. And I hope I'm proven wrong when the US version comes out, but somehow I don't think I will be.
I mean, I can't imagine any significant changes between now and then.
Yeah, so we'll have the PAL version, which will make the game absolute shit.
I mean, that's not what I meant, but I mean, yeah, otherwise. But you never know. I mean, you're right, it could be. I would hope they would have more sense than that, but we'll see. We will see. I mean, I guess I didn't see this news, but apparently, just another weird Sony decisions. Apparently, people are, I'm sure it's a vocal minority, upset that the May 10th PlayStation 3 and Vita updates made it so you couldn't transfer stuff from the PlayStation 3 to the Vita anymore. Like, downloads.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very random. I would imagine it has to be kind of like closing a backdoor kind of thing, but
it's got to be, right?
Yeah. But it does seem kind of weird to like patch a feature out of a system like 10 years later.
It's kind of weird.
As I said, I can't imagine it affected too terribly many people. Probably why they did it, but yeah, just very random.
Yeah, that's all I got. I don't know about you guys, but yeah.
I got nothing else. Are you guys ready to wrap up?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well then, thank you everyone for listening to us tonight. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts, or you can check out our website, game-crunch.com. And if you want to reach out to us, we're on Facebook, Twitter, or you can send us email at gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. Brandon.
I got nothing really. I don't even know what I'm going to play this week. Actually, I'd probably play like Supercharged or something. I got nothing.
Hitman game?
Huh?
Not the Penguin Hitman game?
You know what? I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to show that to my friend.
It looks like a great co-op streaming game.
It really does. It's like such a shit show looking at it that I can't help but think that it would be absolutely amazing to stream.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. You'll have to let us know if you try it. And I know you will. So,
yeah.
All right, Nick.
I got nothing going on.
Okay. Well then, that said, my name is Mike Anastasia. You can find me online. I'm Clash of Penguin on Twitter or your favorite gaming console. And until next week, game on.
Game on.
What is this?
The
greatest penguin heist of all time.
Okay.
No, it's a game.
Now, are you stealing penguins or are the penguins stealing?
Looks like the penguins are being nasty. Let me see if I can find something better on YouTube.
What's up?
This penguin video. I'll show it to you in a second.
Oh my god. Everybody's freaking out today because Sonic 06 came back to the Xbox 360 marketplace.
Oh.
But it's not compatible with Xbox One, Series S, or Series X. So you can only play it if you have a working 360.
The fuck?
That is very random. I don't know, the trailers all kind of suck for this game, but here's one fan-made trailer.
For what now?
The penguin thing?
Yeah, the penguin thing.
Oh my god. Not the gun violence.
It's kid-friendly.
They walk like Weeble Wobbles.
I know. I really wish when I dropped that penguin off the edge, it was like Mario 64 with like the crying.
They put the newt newt sound.
Which one's the newt newt sound?
When it goes newt, it's from Pingu.
Huh.
Newt newt.
There you go. Little penguin jetpack.
This game looks amazing.
I know.
So this is definitely a mobile game, right?
No,
yeah, you actually need a 3090 to play this.
It's Windows, Mac, and PC. That's what it says.
It's highly rated, and it's $15. Jesus.
You got $15 burning in your pocket?
No.
It's only on Steam.
Let's see. Here's a review of someone that has 16 hours in the game. If you're looking for good gameplay and polish, stay far away from this. But if you're looking for a cute and silly game to play with friends, then this is fucking hilarious. I was crying laughing at times. The game is so janky and ridiculous, and that's what makes it so great. I love it. Would newt and bonk everything to death again. 10 out of 10.
I mean, it looks hilarious.
This entire game has the vibe of playing through those weird, janky Russian CSGO co-op story mission workshop maps.
Is that a compliment or no?
I don't know.